The air in room 214 of the Rayburn House Office building felt stale at first, the kind of flat atmosphere that settles into routine congressional hearings. It was another oversight committee session, another former official under oath, another round of predictable questions and practiced answers. Kash Patel, dressed in a sharp blue suit with a half-smile that seemed permanently fixed, looked like a man ready to navigate a familiar script. He'd been here before, fielding inquiries with the ease of someone who knew where the lines were drawn. The room hummed with the usual, aides scribbling notes, reporters in the gallery half listening, and members of Congress trading occasional glances. Then Jasmine Crockett took the floor. Her voice cut through the monotony, calm but deliberate, like the sound of a window cracking open in a storm. "Mr. Patel, before we proceed, I need you to confirm something for me." Patel's eyes narrowed slightly, his posture shifting just enough to betray a flicker of caution. "Congresswoman, I'll answer any questions within the scope," he said, his tone measured. Crockett's lips curved into the faintest smile, no theatrics, just a quiet confidence that shifted the room's energy. "Oh, don't worry, this one's well within the scope." She reached for a folder on her desk, pulling out 3 stapled sheets creased at the corner as if they'd been handled with care but carried weight. The room stilled. Aides paused their pens. Reporters leaned forward. Crockett's glasses caught the light as she scanned the pages, then looked up. "You testified on March 9th that you had zero involvement in coordinating intelligence briefings containing unverified information. Is that still your testimony?" Patel leaned forward, his voice steady. "Yes." That's when she placed the first document on the committee's shared screen. It was an email printed from Patel's encrypted government account sent 2 weeks before his March testimony. The recipients were 2 advisors linked to a known political consultant. Subject line, briefing notes, top line, talking points. Crockett read aloud, her voice clear and unhurried. "Make sure the language leans on ambiguity. Don't confirm anything outright. This is more about narrative direction than detail." Patel's jaw tightened, but he kept his composure. "Congresswoman, I'd need to see the full context." Crockett's smile didn't waver. "I'm glad you said that because I've got the full thread. And the attachment." She pressed a button and another document appeared, a follow-up email with an attached briefing draft marked with Patel's notes. The room buzzed. Representative Hall, seated 2 chairs down, muttered something under his breath. Cameras caught it, though he didn't think they would. It looked like, "Oh damn." Crockett didn't pause. "This isn't about politics," she said. "It's about perjury. It's about manipulating government resources to push a false narrative while under oath, which, last I checked, is a federal crime." Journalists in the gallery stirred, one already recording on her phone. Patel whispered to his attorney, their heads close, their expressions unreadable but tense. Crockett pressed on. "You say you didn't coordinate these briefings, but the timestamps, recipients, and phrasing contradict that. Do you stand by your testimony under penalty of perjury?" Patel's response was slow, deliberate. "I'll invoke counsel's advice before I respond." Crockett nodded, unfazed. "You should, because I've got more." Her time was nearly up, but no one glanced at the clock. Somewhere, a cable news producer whispered, "Clip this. Get it on the ticker." The hearing wasn't routine anymore. It was a reckoning, and Jasmine Crockett was steering it. But this wasn't her first time challenging someone powerful, and it wouldn't be her last. Long before she stood in the Capitol, dismantling former intelligence officials with a folder and a microphone, Jasmine Crockett was navigating the back halls of Dallas County courthouses, legal pads in hand, wearing flats that echoed on the linoleum. She hadn't grown up dreaming of Congress. At one point, she wasn't even sure she wanted to be a lawyer. But life and Texas had a way of shaping her path. Raised in Roseland, a southern Dallas neighborhood often overlooked, Jasmine was the daughter of Dolores, a nurse, and a father who worked security at a warehouse off I-45. They taught her to speak plainly, think critically, and never let anyone talk over her, especially when they were wrong. By age 11, she was asking why until adults squirmed, a habit that stuck. At Prairie View A&M, she studied political science, not to run for office, but to understand a system that seemed to fail people like her. Law school followed at Thurgood Marshall School of Law in Houston, chosen for its legacy of fighting systemic injustice from within. Her first real taste of the courtroom came as a public defender. The work wasn't glamorous, cases with missing witnesses, scared families, and judges who sighed at clients in county blues. But it was where she found her purpose, a focused rage against a system that buried truth under bad paperwork and indifference. One case changed everything. A 17-year-old named Devin from Oak Cliff, accused of robbery based on a vague description, black male, around 6 feet, black hoodie. Jasmine dug in, finding receipts, phone records, and a school attendance sheet proving Devin was in algebra class during the alleged crime. The deputy pushed for a plea deal. She demanded a trial. The judge called it a waste of time. Devin walked free 6 months later, charges dismissed. That case sparked something. Civil rights groups noticed her. Organizers called. Political aides urged her to run. She hadn't planned on politics, but when a Texas state house seat opened, she won it, then won again, then ran for Congress. By the time she reached D.C., the rooms were fancier, but the fight was the same. People underestimated her, as they always had. She didn't mind. Being overlooked gave her time to prepare, to stack her ammunition. That morning, Crockett arrived at the Capitol just after 7:45, early enough to avoid reporters, late enough to see who was already there. She walked through the east entrance, badge on her blazer, earbuds playing a Motown loop with a touch of Aretha. In the committee prep room, her aide Alicia waited with a stack of documents, triple-checked and indexed. Crockett nodded, took the packet, and found a corner by the window. Outside, cameras gathered as Patel arrived, his smirk polished, his legal team trailing. Inside, the chamber was cold but polite, representatives making small talk, staffers whispering about dinner plans. Patel entered, shook hands with a few Republicans, and offered nods to others. Then he saw Crockett. She didn't flinch, just met his gaze before returning to her notes. He leaned to his lawyer, muttering something. Crockett caught it, her jaw tightening just enough for Alicia to notice. The room filled fast, journalists, activists, even a former committee member who shouldn't have been there. They all sensed something brewing. The hearing began, roll call, introductions, Patel's sworn oath. His opening statement was smooth, mentioning transparency 5 times in 2 minutes. Crockett counted. Questions started slowly, softballs from allies, tepid pushes from others. Patel answered effortlessly. Then Crockett's turn came. She adjusted her mic, glanced at the chair, and began. Mr. Patel, I have just a few questions. They'll be simple, but I'd ask that you answer directly. She asked about his March 9th testimony, his denial of involvement in politically influenced briefings. He confirmed it, unwavering. That's when she revealed the email, its contents projected for all to see. The room shifted. Patel's polish cracked as she read his words, his directives to keep things vague. His attorney whispered urgently, but Crockett was relentless, pulling up the email thread, the attachment, the calendar invite proving an analyst briefed the committee days after Patel's instructions. The gallery gasped when she mentioned phone records, 8-minute calls, 11-minute calls, midnight calls between Patel and the consultant. You say there's no coordination, she said. Yet we have written directives, call logs, and a witness who's spoken to investigators off record. Patel's smile was gone. He denied wrongdoing, but his voice lacked conviction. Crockett didn't let up, producing a final email dated February 24th referencing White House approval for briefing language. Why was the POTUS office notified about a routine briefing? She asked. Patel had no answer. Chairman Liddell entered the email into the record. Crockett requested a re-examination of Patel's testimony. The room felt electric, not from shouting, but from the weight of evidence laid bare. Outside, reporters tweeted screenshots. Networks ran breaking news graphics. Patel's phone buzzed with crisis messages from his team. Crockett sat back, her work done for now, but the ripples were just beginning. By the second round, the tone shifted. Even moderates like Congressman Joy pressed Patel on the email's metadata. Freshman Republican Kendra Malloy called for a thorough investigation, a rare break from party lines. Representative Lyles highlighted contradictions in Patel's prior testimony, further tightening the screws. The gallery's younger staffers whispered, one mouthing, "He's cooked." Crockett took notes, calm and focused, knowing this wasn't about the moment but the consequences.